I feel like it's buffering a little bit, but welcome back to my channel. Yes, I'm a unicorn is here. I'm here.
Hey!
Um, so one thing that I wanted to say though is I forgot my thought. Go ahead. I was gonna say something about the emojis, but I'm gonna wait for that.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm working on myself because I feel like I'd be too loud. Not even just here, but just everywhere in my life. And it just made me think the other day because I was like, all these people are tolerating me, and nobody's saying, "Can you quiet down a little bit?" I
No,
was like, maybe I'm
because
not as loud as I think I am,
I don't
but
think
I
so.
do
I
think
think
I'm
I'm
loud.
loud. But nobody would ever come and be like, "Can you quiet?"
Can
As
you
a matter
quiet
of
down a
fact,
little bit?
did you see that movie, Karen?
I didn't see it yet.
I'm gonna need you to watch that so we can
Okay.
discuss that because I'm gonna get your nephew to watch it because I was just like,
Hey, J Dub.
hey J Dub. Okay,
So
so you gotta
speaking
go
of,
to It's J Dub's channel because he's the
okay.
number one commenter on YouTube, but he's from the area too, and so he does like reviews and stuff like that. He's real cool. Um, but
Speaking
anyway,
of, are you watching? Because I just came up on this show. I didn't say this earlier, but I just started watching this show based off of somebody I'd be watching on YouTube sometimes, and she's in the show, and it's a show on OWN, and
what?
it's called Ladies Who List.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
Have you
haven't
seen
watched
that
it. I
joint?
watched one
Oh,
episode of that.
dog, I'm
I think
I'm
Cameshia reviewed that.
engrossed. I'm engrossed in that show. Kamisha, if you are, yeah, I definitely am engrossed. I think we're on like we couldn't even stop. So for those of you out there who don't know, James, who's also fourth quarter, he has his own show. He is my husband,
And my
some
brother.
and her brother, and sometimes. Like not sometimes, whenever one of us starts watching something, the other one gets engrossed in it, right? And I've watched like one episode. I was watching the first episode, which is oddly, it's not the first episode, it's the second episode. But anyway, I was watching the episode and he came over and saw it was somebody that we watch on YouTube, and he got pulled right into it, and then we started watching hey fourth quarter, and then we
What's
started
up, bro?
watching the rest of the episode, and we
So
couldn't
wait, is this the
stop.
one with Chad Ochocinco's ex,
Um,
or
I don't know if he dated one of
there's
those
another
women.
one called Selling Sunset? I might be getting
Oh,
mixed up.
that might be that one
Who's the
because
person that you watch on YouTube that's on the show?
her name is Kiana, and she is on a show called Rants and Gems on YouTube. And so the
Okay.
way that I even know who she is to begin with, which is what made me want to watch the show, is because we were like looking at all of this homeowner information, probably starting earlier this year,
Mm-hmm.
and we started just finding stuff on YouTube. Um, and the guy who does the show, Rants and Gems, his name is the mortgage guy, MG the mortgage guy.
Okay.
And I saw him. Okay, so it's so funny, word of mouth.
Oh, that's the one with Robin on it. Is it Ladies Who List Atlanta?
Yeah, yes,
That's
with
the one,
Robin.
and then the pretty, really pretty girl,
They're all so
Crystal.
pretty. Yes, Crystal.
Crystal is
Yes,
the one
yes.
I was watching. Okay, so I did see that. Okay, okay,
They're
okay.
all so
Okay.
pretty.
I'm
I
here
was
now.
looking at it the other day. I was like, wow, all of these women are so beautiful. Like it's amazing. I love to see actually James said something about that ironically. Um because about their makeup, because he was like, this is on own, how come this makeup team doesn't bless the people on, on the
See,
other
I
show
don't
he's watching?
understand that either
I
because
was
I
like,
guess
James,
they're in
first of
different
all,
lighting.
they're in Atlanta, and I
True,
told him this too. I was like,
but they could also be doing their own makeup.
they could. I was like, being real estate agents, and it seems like a lot of them are luxury real estate agents, or something like that. Like they're not all real estate agents. Some of them are brokers. Sorry, I
Mm-hmm.
ran out of breath. Some are brokers. Some of them are closing attorneys. So but I'm thinking like, in Atlanta, it's like the Black Hollywood. So I'm thinking like, you really don't even go to the grocery store without, because you just don't know who you might see. Like you just don't know. And
I mean,
I was there like 20 years ago, and I knew that, like, you know what I mean? Like you just gotta I mean,
hey
everywhere you go,
Gwendolyn.
you see somebody. Everywhere you go, you see somebody. It
I
became like
mean,
a running
yeah.
joke. It became like a running joke. Like Jermaine Dupri, probably to this day, would probably, because we ran into him so many times that he would point at us when he saw us, me and Jennifer, like, "Oh, it's y'all." We were like, "Oh, it's you." It got to be
Well, you probably
ridiculous.
were looking down, but I get what
Yeah,
you're
he's
saying.
pretty short. But
This J Dub
but
says he gets the shows mixed up, but the one with Chad Ochocinco, Baby's mother, is great. He thinks he
it's
saw
all
it
on
on Netflix.
Netflix.
Yeah, I think that's the other one that I was looking at.
Well,
Um,
yeah, okay, look, that's something that you should watch because we couldn't stop watching it.
hey,
Like we'd be
mommy.
falling asleep on it because it's so good. And it's a lot in there. I mean, it's not even necessarily, it's definitely about real estate, but it's really about the relationships. And it's really interesting how these relationships play out. And I really enjoyed the show. So
Okay, I'm
they
gonna
got
check it
some
out.
real
I did
interesting
see a couple
characters.
episodes because I remember when they were talking and Robin got offended by whatever she was saying, and she was saying Crystal, I think her name is, and she was saying that I'm just repeating the words that she told me about herself when she said that she was
Yeah.
she didn't play well in the sandbox or something like that. But okay, yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah.
I'm
So
gonna check
anyway, that's not even what we came to talk about today. But how was your week? Because I don't think I asked you that last
that out.
time. How's your week so far?
Well, okay, so today's Thursday. My week was pretty decent. I had to go into the office one day, but I had like I had ordered something on Tuesday that I need for Saturday. And so I was like, all right, bet. They said it'll be here by Friday. Okay, bet. So I'm looking today though, and I saw that it was like out for delivery. And so I was like, okay. And then I saw the FedEx truck pull up, and I was just like looking for the package, and then nothing was at the door. And then I go back to check, and it was like incorrect address. And I was like, oh, hell no. So I went back and looked at my original order, and I did put the right house number, but I mean street number, but I didn't put my apartment number. So I was like, God damn. So I called FedEx, and FedEx was like, oh well, you have to. Unfortunately, the address is incorrect. It was like a message or whatever. Unfortunately, the address is incorrect, and you're gonna have to get in contact with the shipper because we can only take an update from them. So I'm like, oh, okay. I call these people and I'm like, hey, I tell them the situation, and they're like, oh, great, we'll get that updated right now. And you might want to just follow up with FedEx or whatever. I was like, well, they need you guys to call them according to their message. And they were like, yeah, it's in there, it's done or whatever. So I'm like, okay, let me call FedEx back. I get two different people on the phone that tell me like the same thing, and they're just, I can tell they're reading from script because it's just like, well, yes, you're gonna need to contact the shipper and tell them blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, I have contacted the shipper, they've updated whatever system you guys use, so maybe you can see the update. I just want to make sure that you get it. And so no haps or nothing. So then I'll get off the phone and I'm like, I call the place back that shipped it. And so I get this other lady and she's like, well, it doesn't really work like that. So it's whenever we submit a form and whatever the form is processed. And I was like, so I spent my money. You got my paper and my package is in limbo and you telling me, you submitted a form. I was like, this is crazy. So I get off the phone and I'm like trying to decide, do I want to get mad about this or do I just want to go buy whatever it is that I ordered? Again, it was a chair. It's a fucking chair. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I'm like, I could just go and buy one, but I felt like the convenience of getting it delivered. Why not? Anyway, so I'm sitting here trying not to be like irritated. And I'm like, okay, how can I do this? So I'm like, all right, bet. I'm going to call them and I'm going to call them and I'm going to have both of y'all on three-way. And by the time I got through the little automated stuff or whatever, they were both on there. I was like, I got FedEx on the phone. Hold up, I got them on the phone. Y'all just talk and figure this out so I can get my package tomorrow. And so it ended up working out. But I was like, why did I have to do all that? Why did I have to go through all that? I paid money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Somebody's paying FedEx. Can y'all just work this out? Like, why was that so hard? You know what I'm saying? But other than that, my week was good. Other than the situation that happened, which with the shipping shit that I just explained is like, I had to go through all that to get a damn $35 chair. And people can get whatever kind of weapons and guns they want to have. You know what I'm saying? Because this latest mass shooting in Texas that happened on top of the one that happened in Buffalo. So I don't know. I don't really want to get in depth in this because everybody and their mother is covering it. There's so many different details online about it, but I did want to just take a moment to like acknowledge the fact that it's
Mm.
happened. But what did you have to say about it?
Yeah, I have a couple things. Let me just comment on what your comment there. It's so funny while you was talking. I don't know who would have come up with that three-way joint other than an innovative black lady. And I just wanted to give a shout out to black ladies everywhere because if you ever have a problem in life, people, 9 times out of 10, you could ask a black lady and she'll have a really good suggestion for how to figure that out. I've never thought to do that. What a wonderful, like, and you got it resolved. Like, I'm just
Listen,
gonna put y'all on three-way. Like, since you can't listen to me and tell me, like, and listen to the fact that I've already called the shipper, like, what do you want me to do now? So that was one thing that I just had to say because that's hilarious. And I too loathe FedEx. I don't know what they're do. I don't even know what they're doing. Anyway,
mm,
but yes, I agree. It was too hard for you to do that than it is
hey
to be
Dina.
able to get a gun. And I have a lot of thoughts about this, and some of them are kind of grim. But you know, we're here. We're gonna talk about it for a little bit. Like he said, we don't want to like belabor it because people are talking about it everywhere. Sometimes you just need an escape from certain things. I'm not saying this is one of them, but you
Yeah,
know,
but I totally did not go right to the whole
yeah,
situation and look for it. I've gotten the stuff that I know I've gotten from the people who have been talking about it, but I didn't like go and watch the whole
yeah,
news coverage of it or whatever because I
no,
could not imagine sending my child to school and not, that happening. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, that the HBCUs had the bomb threats and active shooter
yeah.
threats in the earlier of the year. So I was already stressed out when that happened. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and now nowhere's safe, but it's crazy.
It is crazy, and that kind of brings me into like one of my first thoughts about it, which is that I said is probably quite grim. It's just the idea that you
Hold
know,
on one second. I just
okay,
want to acknowledge Dina, aka Christina Moore, in the chat. She's one of my sisters from the Cameshia Reviews Crew. Also, she said, "Get mad, it's your stuff, and you want it now." But she did
yeah,
something else that I want to explain to y'all. Um, Everybody has their people or whatever. So y'all, when y'all in the chat and we live over here, y'all are gonna be the movers and shakers. You're gonna drop the sneaker emoji in the chat because we keep it moving from topic to topic. We keep it
mhm,
moving from drama and we keep it moving in our regular lives. So I know you guys are the same way. So
mhm.
anyway, when you come in here, my movers and shakers, drop the sneakers in the chat. Thanks. Anyway,
Yes, I love it. Thank you, Dina.
so yeah, let's talk about this because I think
Yeah, I
I
mean
want to
it's a part of life and we want to keep it light here on our show, but at the same time it's happening, so we might as well just give our thoughts about it. One of the things that it strikes me as odd is that okay, first let me say this. I didn't I've seen lots of details about it and it is very sad that somebody would do this to children. Not like other people would be more deserving, but I think it's safe to say that children are even less deserving. Like they haven't even had a chance to live yet. But
like I
um
always say, y'all don't come and go to the hood with that where people can defend themselves. You know what I'm
or
saying?
people will
Not to
have
say
been
that we
known to,
want it to
right?
be a shootout, but like, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I kind of wonder like what is the story behind that cuz it kind of leads me to some most conspiracy theory sort of stuff cuz I'm like, whenever one of these news
It
stories
was his
break and
birthday.
in this particular instance there were witnesses and there were people who survived who saw the things. So I'm not questioning the facts that were presented, but sometimes I wonder when things break out on the news if it's actually really the truth because I think to myself like how would we know? Right? Like how
Well,
would we know if they just said, "Oh, we shot this person. It was him. See, here's a picture."
can I
Right?
bring up
Like,
something really quick on that?
yeah.
You remember when the we had the sniper, right? You remember that? I was pregnant with Earl.
Yeah.
Everybody was scared
I
because
do
people were getting
remember
shot,
that.
getting gas in random places. The media had everybody looking for these white box trucks everywhere that we were
Yeah.
going, and it wasn't the white box truck. So, like, I feel like I just knowing how the news is and how much it's changed over the years, like you cannot believe the majority of the
Everything.
stuff that happens on the news.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They get it wrong too, but I don't know. That's a
It's
rabbit
like
hole right there.
nothing you could say to make the situation better. So we're just going to give our thoughts. But that is an amazing point because here the media is saying, like, oh, we're looking for a white box truck. It's a white box truck. And somebody could have been going about their business in their white box truck and really gotten pulled over and been like a suspect immediately. Meanwhile, that's not even what was happening. So that's one of the things that, not in this particular case, because there were witnesses. And I did see somebody say something about the lady who was the teacher and didn't make it, and her husband died, I think, of a heart attack like 2 days later. I saw that.
Mm,
But so here's my thing, and this is
that's
where it kind
crazy.
of gets grim, where I'm going to make a statement that
I didn't
that
even know
sucks,
that.
but it's just the way that I think. People are saying things about like changing the laws and how we should be holding people accountable, and I do think we should be doing that. But like the reality is that we're not safe, like especially black
Black and
people.
white.
But the point is, like, you think you're
He never
safe.
been safe. And that's the
Nobody's
thing that
safe.
irritates me. It's like nobody can even really understand the daily stress, right? Yeah.
Hmm.
Everybody goes to their jobs and, you do your work and whatever. And, it's like the things that we have to overcome before we even get there. And
Yeah.
while we are there, we have to not, slap your ass. So it's like
Yeah.
you will never understand. But anyway, that was
Yeah, it is one of those things. Not to take it there. Let me say this real quick. The problem, it's not a problem. I mean, it is a problem, but it's like the idea that, like, oh, we want to be safe. We want to know that we're safe. Like, it really kind of doesn't exist. This is my own opinion. It doesn't exist because it's a feeling, right? Like you could feel safe, but are you really? You're safe until you're not, right? Anybody could get a gun. Anybody could, you know, anybody could do anything to you. Really, you just need to be prayed up. But even then, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, if it's your time, it's your time. But I mean, I don't think that about these kids because I just feel like this is just wild. But this the idea that they're saying that he posted some things on social media, which I also just find to be quite odd. Like the fact that he said these things and then went and did them. Was no one around him? Was anyone a subscriber of him, or did he just have a weird channel that he just, or a weird thing? He apparently, like, this is what I'm hearing in the news. I don't know
Yeah,
the
I haven't
difference
looked
was
into
from
it.
was true, but it just seemed like one of those weird things. Like, really, like he posted, "I'm going to shoot my grandmother," and then he did it, and then I'm going to go shoot at a elementary school, and then he did it, and I just think that's one of those
So I heard
odd
that part
details.
that he shot the grandmother in the face. He drove probably in her car or whatever and crashed and then walked to the school the rest of the way. So I'm like,
Yeah.
he was walking down the street in the gear that he had on and stuff. Like nobody was like,
But apparently, like, if he's all geared up like that, it's really no stopping him, which kind of brings me to that point of like, we're not safe, right? Like, it's a
I
feeling, it's
mean,
a blessing, but you're not, I mean, it's a blessing when you are safe, when nothing did happen to you
mm-hmm,
today. But I don't see, and this is the thing, like, I'm not trying to say that they're wrong about the facts because I don't know the facts, but the thing is that strikes me as odd is some of the details, right? And
yeah.
and they could have put anybody's picture up there and I would just believe it because I wasn't there and this thing happened. And you know I'm sure there's witnesses, so I'm not saying that, oh, this is wrong,
No,
whatever,
no,
but
I feel
it
you.
just crossed my mind. And also that kind of led me, to thinking about the way that they shot him, which, yeah, I would think you would want to do that, right? But it was weird to me that the shootings in Buffalo, they took the guy out in handcuffs and they didn't shoot him. I'm not saying he should have got shot too. That's not what I'm saying.
No, but it is
But
like a
it's a
thing
little
that
bit
certain people
weird
get
how
taken
that,
away okay
yeah.
without a mark and certain people don't.
Yeah, so that was interesting. I mean, it was just odd to me. And then also that is what brought me to the next thing, which is I'm hearing all of these things about there's more school shootings than days in a year and all this stuff. And I'm like, how come we only hear about a handful of them? So I actually looked it up and I'm on Wikipedia right now. So, and there's all these shootings. Now, you'll notice if you scroll all the way down to 2020, there were less than 2020 because you remember we had the pandemic onset and like, you know, they're leading up to what, like March 8th. I think we went on quarantine or whatever on like March 13th or something like that. And then And then was it March 8th? Wait, where does it say it stopped? No, there were shootings. There were shootings all throughout. There just weren't as many, I suppose. There's March 5th,
This is
March 11th, but
crazy.
you could see like the deaths and the injuries were low or zero. But it is so weird to me because I started looking at it like, oh, there were all these shootings, yet we didn't hear about all these, right? But then every once and again, and this one was really awful, right? So
That's
I
from
get it because
2019.
these were kids, but like these things are happening, and then they don't get reported on, but then some of them get reported on like
ASAP.
super heavy out the box, and I'm wondering like, is it the number of deaths, is it the location, is it something that is happening where something else is happening right now, and this is the story, so that's not the story, like
So
um
okay, so see, this is what I didn't do a lot of research on this case, so I don't
mhm.
know. But I also would like to look more into these shootings. So these shootings, I want to look at some other site too, because these some of these is like somebody accidentally shot themselves,
Yeah.
um, and
Yeah,
stuff.
and I
So
mean,
maybe this is like
we're not trying to make a whole big deal about what's, covered in the media or whatever, but it's just a little more interesting to me.
a woman fired 12 shots at a moving school bus. Nobody was shot, but the bus driver was injured by shattered glass in Sewanee, Georgia. That's crazy.
And so I mean, and some of these people that are doing this, I don't know what's going through their minds, like what would make somebody want to do that, but it's like if this is this is a really large problem, there has to be more than one way to skin a cat. Like it's not just changing the law, it's like something else too. Like we can't just wait for people to save us from this kind of stuff. I don't know. It just is weird, but yeah, we just wanted to acknowledge it because it's being talked about, and it is an important topic. So we didn't just want to go along and graze along, act like it didn't happen. So that's the reason we brought it up and talked about it. But
Yeah.
you know,
And I'm gonna look. Dina says she looked them up too. This J Dub says the reality is for those who are willing need to legally arm themselves.
yeah, and so it's interesting that what I'm hearing on the news is that we need to stop it. Stop. I do agree that we need to make it harder for people to get guns when they have like mental issues or when they have like a track record of it, right? Or when
Mhm.
I think we need to look into that. And it's so hard to get a chair, right? Like it's like so hard to
You
do
know what
other
I'm
things too.
saying?
Like you can't even get a rental car until you're 25. You can't even get alcohol until you're 21. You can't even do a lot of stuff, right? But
Hmm.
you could go and get a gun and you could end things for people. Like, I don't know. And I do agree with the whole bearing arms thing. Like, I'm not opposed to that. I'll just say that.
Heck no, because
Um,
if other people know how to use them, I want to know. Well, I know how to use them, but I want my child to know how to use it too. You know what I'm saying?
it's
So
so odd that
range
the
visits are
fourth quarter
necessary.
says fourth quarter says they can pass strict abortion laws, but not strict gun laws.
How about
Ha
that?
man. Ha man.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. I didn't, like anyway. All right, moving right along. Sorry to take it there, guys. We had to just go ahead and address what's happening in the world because we all live here and it's not like, problems are going away, but it's one of those things where, you know, we're not really safe and so we kind of have to start trying to think about stuff like that. But, it's not like up to any
Yeah,
of us
it's
to
like won't
solve or
they
whatever.
won't they put the guns down and we can all go toe to toe? Like
Hello? Hello.
even
That's
our
what I'm talking
weakest
about.
fighters probably gonna. No, let me stop.
So, okay, one thing that I did want to bring up is Isaiah Lee, the man who attacked Dave Chappelle. I'm going to try to give you this. I don't know if you could bring this link up.
Yeah, hold on. Let
Um,
me see. I think it was just a picture, right?
yeah, it was
It
just a
was just
picture
a
of this
picture from
clown.
YBN.
I'm calling him a clown. Yeah, it was from YBF. He basically was saying that like I identify as by and this kind of segues in from the last thing because it's so weird how people take issues with stuff. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be sensitive and you shouldn't be pronoun or whatever, be politically correct. But my thinking is like sometimes people just make stuff up. Like I don't know. He's saying I identify as bisexual and I wanted him to know what he did was triggering. I wanted him to know that the next time he should consider at first running his material by people it could affect. Poppycock, because dude, I mean, come on, dude. Like that's not your issue. You're not out in the streets marching for that. That's not. Hey King, look at you. He's so cute.
Hey, say hey, TT.
I just feel like that
Call his
was a
name.
silly reason and then huh?
Call his name.
King. King. Hey King. Ha. Hey King.
Oh shucks, somebody know their
He's
name. Look at you. All right,
cute.
bye.
He's a cutie pie. Yeah,
Anyway,
my
but
thinking is like, look, man, if that's triggering to you, you got to figure out really like, because now you done got jumped. He
Lord,
got jumped
he
on
got
stage.
stomped. That's crazy. He
I
was
mean,
twisted up.
and my thing is like, for him to make a statement like that, I just think that was so beyond silly because it's like, I just wanted him to know. Maybe that is his reason. I don't know. I don't know that guy, but maybe that's his reason. But obviously, it didn't get you anywhere, and you look like the clown, and you weren't
So,
standing. I just feel like you weren't standing up for no rights. You were just that was just an idiotic thing to do. Okay,
hey, Miss
there's better ways.
Tita. Everybody go subscribe to Miss Tita. She from
There's
the area
better
too, J
ways.
Dub. Um, so I'm looking at the last paragraph though, and it says more from his jailhouse interview, plus what he did that led to him being charged with attempted murder following the Hollywood Bowl attack at the link in the bio or stories. The Hollywood Bowl attack. Was that wasn't the same attempted murder?
I don't know if that's what happened. Like if he was brought up on attempted murder charges, that would be kind of wild if that was the case. I really
That's
don't
crazy.
think that was the case, but um if it was like that was a bad mistake then. Like think about it. You tried to rock somebody and and it didn't work.
At
Okay.
all. At all.
And now you brought up on attempted murder charges. That would just be wild. But you know what? You know, suffer the
Okay, that's
consequences,
funny.
I guess. That was so
Okay.
funny because go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was about to show something else, but go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. You could go ahead.
No,
I was
I
just
was
gonna
gonna
say,
say, well, I got all my people from the area in here. I'm gonna go ahead and play this to see if they've seen this yet. I hope the audio is right. Y'all wanna be us so bad. Y'all wanna be us so bad. We started all of this. We started all of this. Y'all be coming on our swag. Y'all be trying to do everything we do. Y'all even jump off the porch yet. Y'all are sweet. Y'all are sweet. Like y'all ain't on nothing. We started. Bro, you try to blow me. Keep talking about we sweet. You know you only 5 minutes away. You only 5 minutes away. Don't be mad at me because you ain't had no front yard. Because you ain't had no left park. We damn near the same. Don't forget your aunt is my mom. Like we was raised together. We damn near the same. No, we not. Y'all sweet. Y'all is sweet. Hey, bro, stop playing. So why y'all keep calling us sweet? Who's sweet? If we sweet, come over here. Y'all too scared to even cross the bridge for real. Then on top of that, y'all be trying to live over here. Scared. Don't want to come to VA because y'all police be geeking. Y'all police do be geeking. Hey, fuck y'all talking about, dummy? Hell no. Hell no. Go on. Go on. You ain't part of this. You got your own thing. You got your own thing. This is us conversation right here. I hope that it played for everybody because I could see it and I think you can see it in real time or whatever, but it looked like it might be buffering for everybody else. So
you know what's funny? It skipped a little bit, but I could hear the audio very clear and I could see what was happening. And that showed us hilarious how the accuracy of it.
The accuracy is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying?
That show was funny as I don't know what.
Anyway, something just lighten the mood.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
But I mean, other than that, I didn't ask you how your week was. How did you? What was up with you?
My week has been wild. You know, just with work stuff. Just with work stuff. It's like, oh my gosh. I have this whole theory, right? I have this whole theory about, and you're gonna have to listen to me. You're gonna have to hear me out here, and I hope I don't get boring on you guys. So don't try to keep it cute. So I told you one of these little analogies way back in the day, when we were over Ma's house, and we had, and I was showing like in the backyard. I was like, imagine you have all these balls, right? So I'll go ahead and start with that part of the analogy because it goes into the next part. So okay, everybody, imagine you have all of these different types of balls, right? You got a bowling ball, you got a tennis ball, soccer ball, golf ball, ping pong ball, one of those big exercise balls, a medicine ball, and they're all lined up like a bowling alley. And those represent the areas of your life. Now, what's interesting about it is the goal would be to move forward, to move all the balls forward. But rarely can we ever have the balance, as they would say, to move all the balls at the same time. If you think about it, all of them will require a different technique and a different way to move them in order for them. You can't just kick a basketball or like a soccer ball the way you can't do that to a ping pong ball because it wouldn't work that way. And you definitely don't want to do that with a bowling ball. Each part of your life requires a different type of energy, a different type of technique, a different type of movement to figure out how to move this thing forward in life, right? So if you're imagining that, now put that on pause to the side, because this is something that I just thought of that is so profound to me, right? Because I'm thinking about my life in minutes. And so if you guys should start following me on Yes I'm a Unicorn. I don't have a lot of content over there. I've been doing a lot of other things, but you're about to see a lot of stuff. I'm giving a presentation next week and I'm putting this into my presentation. So I'm probably going to start, doing the things that I have been planning to do. So anyway, this next analogy is connected, but I'm going to say it like this. You think of your life in minutes, right? And a lot of people don't recognize this, but you have about 1,000 minutes a day. If you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and went to bed at midnight, you will have 1,200 minutes. I wouldn't suggest scheduling all of those minutes, but you got to think. So if you just dwindle down to like 750 or something, 740, you come
Hey,
out
goody.
somewhere around 1,000 minutes. And it dawned on me, like, why don't I budget my time the way that I budget my money, right? Like if I have 1,000 minutes a day, where do they go? What did I do with them? Right? Something should add up at the end of several weeks in one of those areas, one of those lanes that I talked about with the balls, right? If I want to be losing weight, or if I want to be making YouTube videos, or if I want to be writing a book, one of those lanes, right? I should be able to see my time manifested into something that I wanted by using my time wisely, right? But it just doesn't happen like that. So here's why. Here's my theory on why. I'm thinking about like a small bucket, 4 buckets leading up to a big bucket. So basically, you have this, we're going to call 3 hours, 10 hours, 3 days, 10 days. Now, ideally, you would be pouring in to each of your buckets from the last bucket, right? So
Mhm.
if you wanted to accomplish something in 3 days, you would have done something. If you wanted to accomplish something in 10 days, you would have poured a little bit of that into your 3 day bucket. And then if you wanted to accomplish something in 3 days, you would have poured some of that into your 10-hour bucket. If you want to accomplish something the next 10 hours, you got to pour some of that into your 3 hour bucket. My thinking though is that you can't really have too many hands in that bucket. Can't have too many people adding into your 3 hour bucket. Your 3 hour bucket should be all about you and what you're excited to do, even if it's work. Like I get excited to do work because I'm like, I'm about to body this. I'm about to either learn something, right? And I have all these eyes. Like I'm gonna be innovative, I'm gonna be impactful, I'm gonna be inspired, I'm gonna be informed, I'm gonna be informative. Like something out of this next 3 hours is gonna make me better at what I want to be or what I want to do, right? Even if it's work and I'm doing the work, I'm gonna be getting better at it. Like even if it's repetitive, like oh I'm processing payroll, I'm gonna do it better than I did it last 2 weeks ago, right? Like
Mhm.
that's how I'm thinking to myself. That's how I get myself excited to do stuff I don't really want to do. So I'm like, okay, but that means to me that if you're always just like focused on your next 3 hours, three waking hours, and saying like, I'm gonna rock this 3 hours, I'm gonna do it the way I want to do it. I'm bodying this 3 hours. It's exciting to me. If you keep doing that over and over, there's going to be times where somebody reached in your bucket, one of your kids got sick, one of your something popped up, you know what I mean? But it shouldn't be every day. It shouldn't be every 3 hours. So if you're constantly in control, as much as you can be in focused in on that 3 hours and making it productive, then you should see some of those balls moving forward in the areas of your life. But yet somehow at the end of every 10 weeks, I look back and like, look, I am making progress on some things. I'm not saying I'm just standing still, but some of the balls roll back from the start line. And I'm thinking to myself, like, how did that happen? You know what I'm saying? Like, I must not be taking the control that I really have over my 3 hour bucket. And I must be doing it on a somewhat consistent basis because I should be able to have that 3 hours manifest in the 10 hours and the 10 hours manifest in the 3 days. And so every basically 10 days, I should see movement in all my areas. That's how my thinking is. I'm not saying that that's how it goes, but that's how I look at it. And so, anyway, I said all that just to say that this week there was a lot of people with access to my 3 hour bucket, and that's my fault. So I'm taking ownership of that. But I did go on ahead and get some stuff done. But it was taxing because I made some decisions there where I had to explain to people like how they're not going to what they're not going to do. And it
Mhm.
worked out. It really worked out. I did it politely, and I did it with you know, with evidence. I did it with evidence, and I did it politely, and it worked. And I was able to really get my point across to the point where it was like, oh, they really got it. And like we might even see some improvement there.
That's what's
But
up.
it started with me having to study myself and like what is happening to my time, how is it that this is happening so consistently, and what are the specific points at which things go wrong on a consistent basis. Like I really had to sit there and study it in order
Mhm.
to catch it and then prove it, because people like to act like you crazy. People like to act like, oh well, you know, like that's all in your mind or something. Like that's not really happening. So I really had to like,
Gaslighting
you know what I'm saying? Yes, we would be gaslighting. So
at
I
work,
really had to
especially.
sit
Yes.
there and be like, see that right there? You see that? You see that just happened? That's not cool, because here's the effect, right? I really had to do that. I really had to do that. And I received a couple of apologies, and I
Yeah,
think
because
sometimes
sometimes people just don't know, so
they
you
don't
do have to
recognize
speak
it.
up speak up for yourself, and you can say whatever you want to if you deliver it the right way.
Yeah.
So that's what I always tell you about Earl. Like we don't have like I don't have problems out of him, but there were times when he was younger where I had to like put my mom foot down and be like, and be upset about whatever it was. And this one particular time, I don't know what he did or whatever. It had to be something like surrounding school, but I was like, get out of my face. I don't want to see you right now. At this moment, you need to go to your room, whatever, whatever. So I'm like in my room being pissed off, and he didn't react the way that I thought he would react. He went to his room, but then he came back and he was like, "Mom, that's not how we do. That's not how we do this. That's not how we do things. Like, why can't we just talk?" And I was just
Mm,
like, "Well, you got a point there." So, like, ever since that was when he was younger too, and I was just like, you know what? That he's taught me a lot about how you can say whatever you want to say. It's just your delivery. You know what I'm saying? And so
man, that kid is a genius.
at work, you got to be like, you have to do that. You have to have your proof, your evidence, and then
Yes.
you have to figure out how you going hit your point. But I like the way that you're talking about the buckets or whatever. And that reminds me that when I first started this year, I was doing the 12-week year, which was instead of planning your year out, you do it in quarters so that you're actively touching on stuff versus writing down, I want to lose weight at the beginning of the year, and not like figuring out how you're going to get to that goal. So with the 12-week year, it kind of reminds me of what you said, because you have to have goals. You have to have points where you're measuring those goals. And at the end of
Yeah.
the week, you're supposed to figure out if you made it. But like if you do it properly, you will find that 85% of the time you are like making progress versus
Mm,
not moving the ball at all. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
And
So
that's
like
the
it's
thing.
that constant your hand constantly touching
Yeah.
everything. Let me touch this ball, let me push that one, okay, let me move this one, or whatever the case
Yeah.
may be, or whatever. But it's just honestly, I know my problem is procrastination, and because I get results even when I procrastinate, it makes it more convincing to myself that I can continue to procrastinate because I get results. And so I have to work on that, because I'll be looking at my time and I'll be like, okay, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. But I don't necessarily jump right on it and do it when I probably should jump. Like some stuff I should just like knock out in life, period. Like, and just do it so that I won't be sitting there like, oh, well, I gotta spend all day doing this. But
Right.
but yeah, I like that. I like the bucket analogy.
Yeah, that's what's up. Goody Gabor said 4:30 a.m. sleep by 10. I wonder if that's her schedule. That's what's up.
4:30 a.m. Good lord.
That's what's up. No, I think it's in this fourth quarter. That's my husband, y'all. He knows all about my systems and stuff that I set up. He's saying 10 by 10 by 10 go.
Yeah,
I have
she getting him. You look, James should be getting you together.
indeed, indeed. So I go by this system and I call it 10B. Well, I call it 10B Tango, but it's basically 10 by 10 by 10 go. And it's kind of like I got that book too, but I didn't read it. I watched some videos about it, but it does really align with some of the thinking that I have about time. And my thinking is like whatever you want in 10 weeks, you should probably see evidence of that in your next 10 hours, right? And as a
You have to
general
be
rule,
actively doing something. So, like,
mhm,
yeah, that the 12-week
something.
year is like that because it's like, okay, if I have three main, and you do less goals per quarter, obviously, than you do for the year because you're not going to do 10 things in 10
Yeah.
weeks, right? I mean, in 12 weeks. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, if I want to, you know, lose weight, then that means that my small things that I'm going to be doing to get me, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like the things that I'm going to do to reach these goals within this week. So I'm going to meal prep. I'm going to get up and go to the gym 3 days out of the week. I'm going to drink a gallon of water every day. So if
Yeah.
I do those things and I hit my 85% at least mark on those things, it's like, okay, well, by the end of the week, even if I haven't lost any weight, I am siphoning myself. Like I'm excited and I can what is the word? Like you motivate yourself by looking at
Momentum.
that at what you did. Like, oh well, I was 85% on these three goals. And so if I keep doing this every week, you know what I'm saying? By the time 90 days passes, you will see progress. But the thing is you have to do, right? You can write
Mhm.
your list and stuff like that, but if you
Yeah.
don't do it, then it'll just be like
It's just going to be something that you plan to do. You're going to lose confidence in yourself. I think you're thinking about the word momentum. When you build a momentum, when you just start doing something and it's like, yeah, I can keep going now. Even if it's a small thing, you can build on it as opposed to just like thinking about it or planning it out. It's like
right,
you got to act. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so okay, with that
but
said,
that's
now
what's up. You overcame. That's what's up.
I did. All right, so let's get into this Love and Marriage DC.
Did you watch the last episode?
I sure did. The dinner party, right? Am I
So yeah, the only thing that was in that episode was the dinner party. Everything else was
okay?
kind of like
That's what I was trying to
we
remember
could
because I
have
was like,
like went without.
right? 'Cause I was trying to remember. I was asking James earlier, like, did I miss something? Because did we even see the episode? I was like, I know we watched it, but I was like, why don't I remember? I only remember the dinner party. So I'm glad you put light on
Yeah,
that
it
because I was
was.
like, yeah.
I
All
mean,
right.
I
So,
watched the whole thing, but the main event was the dinner party, and it looks like it gets even spicier next week. So I'm
yeah.
definitely here for that one. But what were I have a
Okay.
question for you, in regards to the episode because you're married. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, what would how would you feel? Because there was a whole question about how some of the ladies got shushed at the table, right?
Oh yeah.
And so, how would you feel if James shushed you while we were at a dinner party like that?
That's funny because that came up while we were watching it, and he was kind of shocked at my answer. But I would shut the fuck up, and then later, you know what I'm saying? I
I'm
would.
gonna cuss your ass out when we
and
get in
and
the
and then
motherfucking
later
car.
we could talk about it, right? But I'm not getting ready to go and be like, "Don't be shushing me." Like that's just
Right.
we're all out of control, right? So, and the thing is this: like when you have a marriage with somebody or a strong bond, a relationship, like if you shushed me, I would go ahead and shut the fuck up because there's somebody who cares about you who's telling you quiet yourself, right?
Well,
If you
okay.
really, it's different with different people. So
What
I'm
it
not saying
is,
that anybody could shush me, but I know that somebody who knows me well would probably be looking out for us or me by doing that, and I wouldn't think anything of it. Another person who could shush me would be your mother, right? And I
right?
would just go
Oh,
with it because it's like I don't really need to say something all that bad. If you shush me, right, like I'll be fine. And I'm thinking like maybe that's just the thing that's happening right now, and I take pause because I don't need to say everything that's on my mind. And sometimes
you get
people
these
who know
bugs
me,
in here.
who are close to me,
Get out.
can be that person to do that. I could even go one step further and say, Earl is another person who could shush me, but he wouldn't even say shush. He would be like, TC, nah, for
See,
real. You
okay,
know what I'm
I
saying?
agree with you though. I agree
And
with you.
I wouldn't
Um,
care.
I would not have said anything there. I wouldn't have, because first of all, it depends on who it is and where I'm at. But I have been shushed before in public by some random person. You know what I'm saying? And at that moment, it depends on the situation because I had in my situation, I had to stop and be like, okay, this person just shushed me, and I could either react, you know what I'm saying, or I could just go somewhere else, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then the situation that I was in, I decided to just stop talking and walk
Mm-hmm.
away. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Yeah.
could see that it wasn't gonna be. I felt like it was gonna end with a slap, so I just didn't do that or
Right.
whatever. But if it was like my husband or something or whatever, I would think that okay. In this case, I think that he was like whatever it is that she was about to say, we're not saying it right now. And she could have got her, you know, he probably heard about it later. Don't be doing that. Da, 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 da. But I thought it was funny because everybody was talking about it. But in reality, like it's only certain situations for me personally me personally is redundant, but that I would actually act on it because then I would be thinking, is it who, the, what? You know what I'm saying? So
No, I get it. And so I thought another thing that was interesting, and I cannot remember her name. She's kind of like if it was the housewife, she wouldn't be holding a peach or whatever. Like she's the one with the half shaven head.
Winter,
Okay, she's a little okay. She's an odd bird to me. She's a bit of an odd bird. I'll tell you, I got a few things that I wanted to touch on here. I thought it was weird that she was offended that some husband shushed their wife, especially when she just ended her second marriage and maybe maybe you have to accept that you're not an expert at marriage and these people have been together for over 20 years, and so maybe you just need to go ahead and keep your opinions on how a marriage should work, under
so
examination for now, because their thing is working, and if she didn't say anything about needing to be rescued from the shush of her husband, then you probably shouldn't even have a problem with it, is what I'm thinking. And
mm-hmm.
the other thing that I thought was really weird about her, and Ashley kind of touched on it, first of all, I love Ashley Silva.
Yeah, Ashley
I
is
think she's
funny as I don't
hilarious.
know what.
I think she's hilarious, and I appreciate just her. I feel a sense of authenticity from her that is refreshing. And she said something about winter and about how, oh, you married, and I don't even think they aired it yet. I think it was a preview for next week about how, oh, you married this
Yeah,
person and you didn't see where he lived. Like, yeah, that's kind of weird, right? Because you learned something about him after the fact, after it was too late. And yeah, that's a valid point. But here's the thing that I thought was super weird about Winter, right? And when we talk about authenticity, she was sitting there explaining the sort of horrible details of her marriage and why it didn't work with a smile on her face. And I was trying to tell James, like, that's so like psycho to me. Like, I'm not calling her psycho. Let me not say that word. That's a bad word. But it was so off-putting or something because it's like singing a sad song with a smile on your face,
yeah,
right? Like, can you imagine that? Like, that's weird. Like, think of the saddest song you can think of and think of somebody smiling while they're
right.
singing it, like a clown or something. And it's just weird. So she was sitting there like smiling, like, yeah, he left me and this and that. And I was just like, why are you smiling? Right? The divorce isn't even final. You're not hurt. You're not like, what is going on? So it just seems super something, because it was
Yeah,
like, what are you actually presenting? Right? Like, what are you
we
doing? Are
don't
you
know
trying
yet.
to make a case? Or are you trying to, I don't get it. So that was just a little off-putting to me. And I just was like looking at her with a scrunch face because I'm like,
Yeah,
what are you
she
doing? What are you
also
even doing?
so she I don't know something about her that doesn't jive with me yet. But she
Yeah.
also she did a live on Instagram like talking about all these receipts that she has about how manipulative the guy is and all of that. And she actually said that she didn't say she was a relationship expert, but then there was a whole thing like on Twitter where Monique actually said that she's you said it or whatever, and then Ashley called her half head and like I gotta send you the post or whatever because
Yo, it's funny that you said that about the relation expert comment, because one of the things that James is so into at this point while we're watching these reality shows is he loves it. Yeah, hush might be warranted. He loves it when somebody sits there at a table or at an event and says, I didn't say that. And then they do the whole rewind and show them saying it.
look, and Chris, they used to reality TV because he said that shit like rewind it, and they did it, and she
Yo,
Monique
what was
said
so
it.
funny is that happened to Monique right there at the dinner
Yep.
table too, because she was sitting there making the case that like nobody checked on me or cared for me when I had COVID, and they just let me sit up there and I was hungry or whatever. I didn't have no water, whatever she said, and I could see why that was bothersome to Chris because, like, okay, let's be real honest, like, and I okay, I like the both of them. I like Chris Samuels and I like Monique, but I don't know. I don't know them that well. I don't know them at all actually. I just watched them on a couple of different shows. I like them, but it is obvious that they want to me my opinion is that they want to come off in a certain way, right? They want
Mhm.
to be the put together couple. And so I could see just in that why that would bother him, why it would be so bothersome to him to say, okay, now hush to his wife, because he's trying to tell his side, like, no, I took good care of you. Like he wants to be the guy who took good care of his wife. So don't put me out there like I wasn't. Another thing I
Right.
find really interesting and strangely, I don't know. It's kind of positive or not. Where however you take it, I don't care. Not you, but I'm just saying the world. Hi world, it's me with my thoughts. Um it's so funny to me because on one hand, because James was like, "Oh man, do you think they're having marital problems and they're gonna get divorced?" And I was like, "I don't really know," but they have this weird connection where it seems like they would go to great lengths to protect one another from like sort of like looking silly or whatever. Like I could see them just kind of like having each other's back in that way where it's just like,
But then she's taking jabs at him every time the cameras come on, so she's okay with him looking stupid.
right. And so that kind of goes to my point where he's like, nah, we're not going to do this. Like, you're not going to sit there and make me the butt of your joke or whatever. Right. So I could kind of see why he took offense to that and he said that. But then I couldn't understand why she was so offended by him saying, well, hush and let me speak. I just didn't understand like why that was such a big deal for her to be like, oh, don't do that. You about to ruin this dinner. It's like, why do you? I don't know.
But see,
Everybody
okay,
has their
so
own, and I wasn't there, and I don't know the whole
I was going
conversation.
to say I don't know what else happened on that thing or whatever, but I felt like he felt the need to stand up for himself. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And he was like, "Oh no, you're not about to,
make
do
me
this,
look
do this."
crazy.
And it's like if you're a couple, you've been on a reality TV before, you kind of know how it's gonna go. And so he was making sure that he got his points in or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. I got exactly where
Well,
he
I'm
was coming
sorry, ain't
from in that
nobody
moment.
checking for Chris, but so he needs to get it together. I mean, somebody out there might want him, but I feel like he needs to just go ahead and get it
I
together.
don't know. I think somebody would be out there checking for somebody. Like he seems like a good guy. Well, I mean, like, obviously, like I said, I don't know him, but uh all right, let's just play this out. Okay. Since we're here. That's gotta be like one of my favorite things to say. I might as well just explore this thought, right? What if in some alternate reality or some alternate universe, right? What if this was the case? I'm not saying that this is accurate and this is true. I'm saying, what if? Let's explore. What if Monique Samuels came to, I forget where she's from. She's from Jersey, right? Came into contact with Chris Samuels, successful football player, perhaps football player at the time, probably not, and realized that like her career as a rapper might not happen, and that she's a beautiful woman who could bag this guy and live a real cushy life. And maybe she's not all the way on the same page. Maybe they're not, maybe their relationship isn't the best, but I'm just going to go ahead and take this chance and live this life of my dreams. You know what I'm saying? And she seems to be a good mom. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
think
Like,
she's really, yeah.
and so it's like I do think about that sometimes, especially in the last in the,
I mean, a
actually
lot of
before.
people get married for security.
Hey, look, and he's not a bad looking dude. He could have picked whoever he wanted, and she could have
His
gotten
lines are
somebody
too
else
far apart,
too.
but I'm not here to pick apart Chris Samuels. But
Oh my gosh. But I mean he coming from where he came from as far as like him building his career and stuff like that. There's a lot of people who would have hitched onto that wagon. And so I feel like okay, here's the thing. We're just making this up, right? It's
mhm.
possible that she hitched onto that wagon and she went without some things and sacrificed so that she could have what she wanted. And because James kind of brought up something that she seems to lack, like this definitive identity. Like it's something that she's not, she keeps trying different things, which we should, right? We should try to
Mm-hmm.
do different things, but it seems like she's always like after the next thing, like there's no dream or something in there. She just wants to be on. She just wants to be famous, right? She's like, he's like, this is her second reality show. Like, what is she really after, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's probably like notoriety, or to feel like, okay, I did something, or that I'm known for something, right? Because I don't know what her, passions and stuff are, but it does seem like, he's already made a career for himself. So it could be, right, that she's trying to find her way. But the issues that they seem to be having, she kind of mentioned in one of the shows that they've had them for some time. So I
Mm-hmm.
was thinking, like, how did that come
Some
about?
people
How
are
did you
saying
even
that they're
choose
like
him?
the same storyline from. It's like the same storyline they had from other shows.
Yeah, but it's, to me, it's like, well, you obviously got in here that way, and it also never
But see, I
left
think
me.
that she's looking for. Okay, so you looking at these couples that's on here right now, right?
Yeah.
You're in this situation now. If you got in this situation for security and not for love, right? If you're
Mhm.
not, you know, you're looking at these other people who actually fuck with each other, and you like,
Yeah.
damn, I
How did
want
they
that.
make it
And
work?
so now you're trying to get your questions answered, and you're trying to go through this therapy. But if that je ne sais quoi was not there, and that's not what you use to make your decision, like you can't make it happen. You know what I mean? So I think that
Exactly.
she's looking for something. I think that she made a decision, and
Yeah.
now she wishes that it was a certain other way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like she tried to build a bear. And it's like this, like you you can't do that. Like you got what you got, right? Like this is what you ordered, man. It's the steak. Like this is
Mm-hmm.
what it is. You know what I mean? Like this is what you order. So you could, I
Speaking
mean,
of
and you
steak,
can
I'm about to
you
make
can
some Alfredo, not steak though, but that's made me think of food. But go ahead.
you can evolve, right? But but you can't like change the thing into something it never was. So and I that's
Right.
why I couldn't really put my finger on, like,
And it
why are
was
they so
cool when
enamored.
you were spent, like when you
Yeah,
think about the money
when you
aspect
first
of
got
it, but
there.
now that you want love,
Mm,
not that they don't have love, but now
yeah,
that you want something other than the money with him. You know what I'm
right.
saying? And it's just like they seem like they get along fine. They seem like they're like friendly and friends with each other. But like Gwendolyn says, like she didn't understand why Monique didn't want to be like Chris's parents, who are friends. As a woman of 65 years old, being friends is good. It's like, but the reason why probably is because most of those people, they probably got their, they didn't get together for the same reasons. And so now
Right.
the friendship is the friendship because that's what they, that's what they built.
Yeah, that's what you
So,
built. That's what you started with. Those are the ingredients you put in your cart. You know what I'm saying? So you can't just be like, "Oh, now I want the soup." Right? Like,
mhm,
no, that's not what you got. And so this is what you got, and this is what you're kind of building off of. Now, you could go somewhere else from there. I'm not saying they could never have what they want, but they kind of have to both want it, especially since
yeah.
they're already 10 plus years in, I think.
Yeah,
And
they're coming up on 10 years.
like, look, if you don't want the same things, you're not going for the same goals, then,
I think
and
it's just her though. I think
well, you
he's
starts with being real with yourself, because
obviously he's fine with it and he
he
does
got
want
into,
to
he got
change.
everything he wanted, and I okay, let me
But I
just go
feel like
here.
he actually does want to try, but I think
Yeah.
that it'll be a never-ending list of things for him to have to
I
overcome
have
with
to
her.
try to do, because it's not, he's the steak, right? Like he can't turn into the fish. He can't turn into the chicken. He can't turn into the soup. So it's like, okay, like you can only work with whatever it is you have. So if that was okay with her when they first started, and now it's not, which it seems to be what he was explaining, I could have gotten it wrong. Then it's kind of like not on, it's only so much he can do. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if that's the case, but that seems to be the picture that's being painted to me. And again, we're watching a reality show. We don't know these people, but it's kind of interesting to me because, you can't look at another, you could get some tips and tricks, You know what I'm saying? But you can't
They
look at
don't
another
owe that
couple.
conversation though. Like,
No, they certainly don't. But you can't also make something out of a set of ingredients that you didn't start with. And that was really what I was getting at in the first place, because I feel like in order to be happy, it starts with you for sure. It starts with your own self-study. What is it that you like? What is it that you want to do? What is it that makes you come alive inside? And it starts with you. You have to make yourself happy, and then you join somebody and they're
mhm.
happy, and then you just, make yourselves happy and make each other happy with all your happiness, right? I mean, like, that's my take on it. I'm not
I mean,
an
because
expert.
the bottom line is that, I mean, like, you're married, but I'm not married, but I feel like um it's work. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? So why would you sign up to put in work with somebody that you don't feel like that about? Because that's gonna make the work even harder, in my
harder.
single opinion. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely
So
right. And what we're learning now, and in our marriage, I'll just be transparent about this, is a lot of the work is self work. A lot of the
mhm,
work, and I liken it, and I'm not a parent, but I would say this, that a lot of the hard work people talk about in being an entrepreneur, we just said this on our show, on our other show. Think about like being a parent or being in a marriage or being an entrepreneur. A lot of the work that is talked about is work on yourself to be a better person to do the thing that you need to do. So I would say that, I mean, for parenting, I don't know, it's different everywhere, but I think because it's different for entrepreneurship, because you're working on a thing, but you are becoming
mhm,
someone else. You're becoming someone better than you were, and that is the work.
mhm.
With a marriage, it's hard. With a parent, like with the being a parent, it's hard because you have a thing that you're kind of like nourishing, but it's really a lot of the hardest work is the work that you do on yourself, and the work that you identify that needs to be done, that needs your focus, who you have to
Mhm.
be to get that done, to be, that detailed, or to be that consistent, or to be that observant, or to be that able to sacrifice in a way, right? It's kind of like the stuff that you have to do. So
That's
it's interesting.
interesting though that you say it like that, because you point out the self work part, right? And so if we're looking at the Chris and Monique situation, I've got to watch to see how everything unfolds or whatever. But right now, it's like not really her talking about like the work that she wants to put in. She wants this thing and she wants these answers, but she is saying that he doesn't want to do the work. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So I don't know. I like Wendell said, time will tell on
time
that
will
one. But I
tell.
think that what's happening is that, you know, sometimes you be in a relationship and you think that this is what you want, and then you see everybody else and you're like, damn, I should have picked that. I should have did
Right.
that. You know what
I
I'm
want
saying?
that
And
too.
that's what I'm getting from her. That's what I'm getting from her.
That's what I'm getting from her too. But on a larger scale, I'm kind of picking up that she doesn't really know or can put her finger on what it actually is. Like, if Chris did everything she said, would it work? Right? Like,
That's what
I
I'm
don't know
saying.
if
I
she
think that
really
list is
knows
gonna
who
keep
she
growing.
is and what she wants. Because it's like, if you wanted that, well, why did you pick him? Right? If you
I
wanted
mean,
this, it is like
but see,
speaking to her moves.
but it's sometimes the case too, in that people make decisions for all sorts of reasons. And some women get married for security, some women get married for love and all of that, right? And at the time, she probably was like, this is what I need to do because this will happen, this will happen. This she probably had, she probably did like him. I'm not saying that she don't like him, but it
Oh
just
yeah,
doesn't look
no.
like she picked him for their relationship looks a lot different as far as how they deal with each other when they're just together
Mhm.
than the other couples.
It does. It does. I like the DJ Quicksilver, Ashley Silver. I think they have a really fun
They
and
probably funny as all
fun
over.
relationship, and I mean, like, they definitely seem like attracted to
That's
each
true
other,
too.
and like I kind of can see that. Jamie and I I you know
Serena.
what? They are so fly. Like, I
Mhm.
see it. I could get it, like the way they show up, and they just seem like, they're really real with each other. So I really am enjoying this. I don't know what's going on with Winter, but she's already on
Listen,
my side eye sheet.
I'm about to send you something in a minute. Goody says she probably was talking about Monique. She probably changed as she aged.
Mm,
I was so different in my 20s, my
yeah,
30s. Facts, that's true. And
that
that's
is a
that's
very true
another reason
statement.
why I feel like whatever decision she made at the time, it
Yeah,
was a good decision, but she realized that she made it without incorporating what she really wants now.
yeah,
It's no way to know what you're gonna want, but like I think that when we picking men, it's like you make, you know, that decision is a big decision, and you know what I mean. And
it
if you
is.
don't, if you, and then I mean, it also goes back to self work too. Because what if she still got some shit to do that won't allow her to connect with him or whatever? Who knows?
It's who
I
knows,
just think
right?
that their shit looks a lot different than the others. But I'm gonna send you this thing about Winter because Winter's funny. It's gonna be interesting with her. I can't wait to see how that all comes up. Um,
I like to see that.
that's
Um,
true, Goody.
I don't know. I don't know. I think it probably happens gradually, but if you're in step
Well,
with
yeah,
your
not
partner,
overnight.
if you in step with your partner, and it's just, I mean, not to say this is kind of weird of an analogy, but like you know, it's like a child, like you know what I'm saying. Like you see the child, it seems like it's overnight, but they're growing, and if you're paying attention and observing them, then you see kind of their growth over time. But yeah,
But
with
it,
teenagers
it
for sure,
depends
it's a
on
little different.
your level of growth and
Yeah.
maturity as well, because you have people who are like in their 60s and they are hell bent on I ain't changing. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so they're not able to
Yeah.
see that okay, there's a need for self love here, improvement over here, or whatever. And yeah, she could have changed over. She could have changed over the years or whatever, but um. I think my what I want to say is that if you know you and who you
Yeah.
are, you're gonna handle things a little bit differently. Yeah,
Yeah.
you might mature and you might learn new things to make these different conclusions, but you wouldn't be at this point
Yeah.
saying, I mean, for as long as it's been going, she said she's been waiting for 10 years and they about to come up on the 10-year thing. So it's like something that's not connecting right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like what made it okay to go without it in the beginning and now now it's
Exactly.
intolerable. And I
So
think,
if
to
she's
each his
still
own.
trying to figure out who she is, like this is,
Yeah, I agree, Goody. It also depends on how well you know yourself. And
I
listen,
just think she
it's
needs to
no
stop
shame in
taking
that.
jabs at him when the camera comes on, because it's like, are
Mm,
you trying to embarrass him, or are you really trying to connect with him to make your relationship better? Because you're not about to keep on coming on TV, or every time these cameras rolling, you got some smart shit to say, or you got some you got a situation where you're gonna say you didn't say it, you really said it, and you like stop. You know what I'm saying? Like no, like
yeah,
the
that
thing
kind
the
of
thing
just
is
goes into go
like
ahead.
you were saying that you were saying that they wanted to you could see them like having each other's back or whatever. I see that in the other couples. Like you're not
Mm.
about to, if we out here and this is how it's gonna look, I got your back 100 grand, right? But because but I don't know, man. I'm just a speculator. I'm not even married, so I don't know.
No,
Who
I
knows?
feel you. I think you hit on some real some real true things
This is
there.
absolutely facts.
I think you hit on some real, yes, yes, so true. I think you hit on some real true things there. But if we just look at how she's trying to present herself, right? Like we can all see it. It's We're not blind, right? She
Mm-hmm,
wants to be this like perfect little human and like I do this and I do that and I'm the best this and I'm the best that and like that's what she's putting out there. That's her like
mm-hmm,
avatar or whatever.
mm-hmm.
So like it's not hard to see, and she's not like super humble or like a mistake
Yeah,
maker
no,
and
that's what
owning
a
it.
lot of people are saying is that it's coming across. That's how it's coming across.
I mean, and this
But
is
we
the
only on
second.
episode two, too. So
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, hopefully, she used this opportunity to actually open up, and we see more of her. I guess. But
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it regardless. But I'm enjoying the entire cast for different reasons. Some for
mhm.
funny, some for entertainment, some
You
for
gotta
just
watch
like
the
appreciation.
interviews. You gotta watch the interviews with the Tylers on Cameshia's. She did an
Okay.
interview with them. That was good. She did an interview with Ashley also. That was good. But I'm gonna send you this screenshot of stuff from Twitter where Ashley and Winter got into it on on Twitter.
Okay, I want to see that. That's the thing. That's the juice. But yeah, okay. Well, you know what? I look forward to seeing more of it, and I mean, no matter what, I'm gonna enjoy it because I'm enjoying it already. This is a real good one. I like this. I really am enjoying Own's programming, like regardless of whatever issues I have with them, with production, with
I'm
makeup
enjoying
artists.
some of their programming. Sometimes the shows are like, well, I mean, some shows are just like, okay, like, you know what I mean? Like y'all are pushing the envelope or whatever. But I mean, I guess it's different producers for different shows.
Yeah.
So she said she's trying to shake off that Real Housewives of Potomac stench.
Oh my gosh, the stench of like being
I
like
love
sort of like
that.
the bad guy or whatever, or just like the stench from the show. Period. I wonder the answer to that. Oh, and she also said I think we're also guilty of extreme optimism, thinking XYZ would happen. I would agree with that also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
am. I'm
because
guilty
yeah,
because it's like you just want the happy ending. It's like what we were trained to do in this Western culture. Like,
I mean,
oh, where's the happy ending? Like something good has to happen now. You know what I'm saying? It's the end.
I was
Like,
thinking about that the other day because I don't know who I was talking to, but like women, you know, I think I was watching this lady. She was she had people calling in. A lot of people are doing that now, but she's a dating coach and she's like 51 or whatever, but she had these people calling in and they would tell her a little bit about their current situation, and then she would like help them or give them some advice or try to basically have them sign up for her coaching thing or whatever. But
oh, villain.
she but that made me think about how, you know, women have a tendency, we meet somebody and we have created this whole like person that they don't even know about, like this
Yeah,
person that we are created is them, but this not the them that they are, you know what I'm saying? And then,
yeah.
oh, he's this, he's that, and then just to get let down because it's that extreme optimism or whatever, and then
Oh
plan the
my
wedding and
god.
the third date and shit. Like, what are you doing?
I
But
do that with more than just dates. I do that with friends. I sometimes do that with coworkers, right? Like, oh, they're so great. Like, you know what I mean? And then it's
mhm.
like I'm not even thinking about like, let me just meet them and take that was
Let me
some of the
just
best
check his
advice I
watch
ever
real
got.
quick.
Some of the best advice I ever got from somebody before though, right? This was from Sean. I was telling James that Sean gave me this advice too. I was like, there was this one time where and I guess he knew my history with like friending people and just being so excited about a new friendship or whatever, like especially with women or whatever, like, oh, I got a new friend and she's still great. Da, 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 da. So this one time I was telling him about like one of my coworkers, like, oh, she's so great and I love her and da da da. And I just really feel like I can trust her. And he was like, you do? I was like, yeah. He was like, don't. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh
Like
man.
this was around the time that somebody else had like sort of like betrayed us, both of us. And I think
Mm.
he was just making an observation off of that. Like, this is how you get into situations when you
I
feel
mean,
like
she could have been trying to holler at him on the low, and he was like, "No,
you
fuck
should
that
try to
shit."
you should trust
Shady.
somebody. Like, oh, I feel like I can trust this person, and he was
Mm-hmm.
like, don't. This is the
Oh,
don't.
you do?
I was
So
like, oh, that's how it's done. Like, they can earn the trust. If they stay around long enough, and they're trustworthy, then you'll learn to trust them. But like starting out with trust, like I'm just gonna give them 100% and see what happens. Like that kind of
no, but I do think that there's value in I mean, sometimes in my situations with friends or whatever, sometimes people from the outside looking in probably think, "Oh, well, I wouldn't have let that go on this long, or I wouldn't have, let that happen." But in my opinion, I think it's good sometimes for you to still be you and you to let a person hang themselves. That way there's
mm,
no question about what's happening going forward, because you and I both know what you did, and there's no conversation that needs to be had. But
yeah.
sometimes I feel like if you jump too early and be like, "Well, I'm feeling like this, and you can't be my friend no more," whatever. I'm 45, but I'm not going to say you can't be my friend no more. But I mean, like, before you make one of those decisions, it's like, you want to be able to comfortably make the decision. I like to let you
Mm,
just do what it is you're gonna do.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, you got over. Oh, okay, bet. Bye. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right. And this is why type of thing. So she
Yeah.
says, Goody Gabor says the villain stench. I was trying to
Mm.
figure out, she's trying to take the Real Housewives of Potomac stench. I was like, what kind of stench? She said the villain stench.
Oh yeah.
And that makes so much sense to me because I wouldn't have wanted to leave it there either. I think she was, I think she was provoked in that, and I don't think that it was the best decision she ever made. But
The
I
fight.
would hate to leave TV land with that on me too, because it's like, it happened. She went a couple of seasons with nothing like that happening, and then that
Hmm.
happened. So it was like, do you want to be remembered like this? So maybe that's really one of the reasons that she might want to do another reality show is because she's like, I just don't want to leave it out there like that, right?
Hmm.
So that's a good point. But
Yeah.
yeah, the optimism thing is really sticking with me right now because I was actually thinking about how we are kind of like trained in this society to like look for that happy ending. I was talking to somebody recently about the one of these movies that I used to watch when I was younger, and I think about it. There's a lot of movies and stuff we used to watch, which probably were not appropriate for our age. Like the fact that our father took us to see Harlem Nights, and I had to be 8 or something like that. I don't know when Harlem Nights came out, but we went to see 2 movies that day. Do you remember this at
I
Greenbelt Mall?
remember Harlem Nights.
Yes, and we fell asleep because he was so obsessed with Richard Pryor, and he made us watch every Richard Pryor stand up when
I
we were
do remember
younger.
that.
And we were young too. It was so funny. He would be laughing. He would be laughing his ass off. And but I mean, it was good. Like it's funny. And maybe that's where our love of comedy came from. But like that day, he took us to Greenbelt Mall. We saw Still Magnolias, and then we saw
Oh, okay.
Harlem Nights. Why do I remember this? I was like 7 or something. Whatever year that came out, that's how old. Like I'm gonna do the math to see
Well,
how old I
I
was.
had
But
to be 12. What was I? 11 or 12? What
we
was I
were
thinking about?
tired because it was like a whole day. Like we spent a whole day, and like we went
He
to the
probably
movies
thought
in
he was
between.
doing a
Because I
good
think
thing.
we were like, I think he took us to the movies. Like we're gonna go see a movie. What do you want to see? And we were probably like, Still Magnolias, and he was probably like, Nah, we'll see that too. I'm starting to look at our parents like they were adults
Hey,
just wanting to have fun too. You know what I'm saying? Like
your
he's like,
kids at a
okay,
certain age, they grow up with you. Like Earl watched me grow up. I had him when I was 25, and he's gone through all of what it took to get me to be the person I am today, or whatever. And it's funny because when we were always, remember when we used to be heavy in the party scene and going out all the time
mm-hmm.
or whatever, and going to the go go and stuff. I stopped and thought to myself. I think I told you about this. I was like, it dawned on me, like, wait a minute. Mommy and Daddy probably used to party with Chuck Brown. And so I was
Yeah.
like, I'm going to ask them. So I asked your father. When I asked your mother, and what did she say? Her response was something like, what did she say? She said something like, oh, I remember him, or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Something to that effect. But when I asked Daddy, he was like, Chuck still playing?
Yep. Yep.
This
And
is
at the
back
time,
before Chuck Brown passed,
at the
RIP to Chuck
time he
Brown. But
was.
I was
Yep.
like, yo, I could just see him out there in his little bell bottoms and
Whatever.
afro.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Whatever
but
they was
yeah, like
wearing.
you watch your parents grow up at a certain age, so they
It's
grow
so
up with
funny because
you.
this is what I was gonna say. It didn't even have anything to do with that, but I was talking about like the whole happy ending thing about the optimism, extreme optimism, because I remember seeing Pretty Woman when I was rather young too, right?
Hmm.
And thinking to myself, like, I used to love that movie and I don't dislike the movie now. Like, when it comes on TV or whatever, I'll watch it. But if you think about it, like, that's such an unlikely story. I think Dave Chappelle did like a little parody or something on it, which was more accurate. But my thought, it was like part of a skit or whatever, but like the ending was supposed to be different. I've later come to find this out. It was a different ending. They changed the ending because they felt like it was too, serious or something. And I think the ending was something even more
Crazier.
stupid. Like they were gonna go, like her and Kit were gonna go to Disney World. Like she didn't end up with the guy, right? Because why
Okay.
would you? You're a prostitute and he's a rich person, and like why would like it doesn't make any sense, right? But we've been so trained to look for this happy ending. Really, a more accurate ending would have been she went back to the apartment, Kit got murdered, and or overdosed, right?
Hmm.
And like this is kind of what happens, and then she perhaps like left and tried to get her life together, but it would have never happened where he came to get, I mean, like, I hate to say it like that, I'm not trying to say bad things about sex workers, but it's very unlikely. that someone who with all that money and a car and their life and the stuff, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be
I
like,
know,
yeah, I'm gonna
right?
go get this prostitute and make a wife out of her because these are my options,
That
right? But
is
it's just
fact,
like
though. That is
we're
fact.
looking for that though, because that's what all the I won't say programming, but like everything that we consume, right, from the era of our childhood, kind of like led us to believe that like, oh yeah, but it's gonna, it's
Hmm.
got to end this way. It's got to be, where's the, you know what I'm saying? And then when we watch something like, which I'll never watch again, but was just a good movie, Precious, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is what actually happens. But anyway, not to bring that up. I'll
Okay.
never see that shit again. Anyway.
Well, right. Well, yeah. So what I want you to do, I want you to watch the movie Karen, so we can
Okay.
discuss
Let me
that.
write that down. Because I
I
got,
haven't decided whether I want to discuss that online or whether I just want to discuss that like
okay. Either way,
offline.
I'll be ready.
But
And
I
you
need you
gonna
to watch
watch
it.
Ladies Who List.
And I'm gonna catch up on Ladies Who
You're
List
gonna get
Atlanta.
sucked
Yes.
in. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, I watched a couple episodes, but I forgot about it. Like, I don't know, it's like not back in the day. Like back in the day when TV used to go off. Like now, it's so many things to watch. It's like,
Yeah.
what am I looking at right now?
Watch now, right? But
So,
yeah, so
but okay, so next week then we can still talk about love and marriage the next episode that comes on. Hopefully the table scene will be nice and juicy or whatever. And hopefully it'll be like some better stuff to talk about and no more like sad stuff or whatever.
yeah, no more shootings. That was sad.
But
I didn't like that.
I am gonna look into the rest of them because I was
Yeah,
like, it's a whole bunch of them that have happened.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna send you this thing for Ashley so you can read it. You can see the back and forth with her and Ashley. I mean, her and Winter.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to see that.
And I need to go make this Alfredo for your nephew that I promised that I was gonna make from scratch, no less. But
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's not that hard though. Yeah,
nah, it's
every
not that
time I
hard.
make
But it's just
Alfredo, I look up the same video on YouTube from this lady called Faith's Kitchen every single
I don't know
time.
if you can follow her.
Shout out to
Well,
that
that's
lady.
not
Faith's
hard,
Oven.
but
It's called Faith's Oven.
I just be liking the chill, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I'm like, I refuse to go pay $40 for one meal for both of us. And I got food in the house, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Good food at that.
I'm
So
guilty.
I'm gonna
I'm
take my ass
guilty.
in there and cook the food. What did you say her name was? Face Oven?
Oh, it's called
That's
Faith's
funny. Of
Oven,
course you be
right?
following somebody
Yeah,
else
if
named
you
Faith.
just Google, and matter of fact, I could probably just find it. Uh, Alfredo on YouTube, or not even Google. If you go to YouTube
I
and
see her.
put,
I just followed her.
and did you see the Alfredo recipe? It's like a 6-minute video, if that.
We got a whole bunch of videos on here. But I'll just put it in. Uh I'll just put her name in for Alfredo, but I have my own recipe. But what I do is I look at people's recipes and I'm like, okay, I'll do this part. Okay, I'll do that part. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm
Um
pausing it. I'm giving you the link right now. I'm
but
putting the
don't
link.
say your dad was wearing polyester platforms. Hey, if I had that one picture of him being
Grits for
in
dinner.
them bell bottoms, I will show y'all. Hold on, but I do have this one though. Just to get a Faith, you weren't here yet, but just this you can see how he was. He had the
Yes.
afro. And so
Look at Davita, y'all. Put that thing all the way up to the camera so people can see your
imagine
bush
some
balls.
tight pants and some bell bottoms and a little one of them rayon party shirts that we used to have.
Look, I just put the thing.
So mad I showed this online.
Go look at our chat and put that link in there. That's the Alfredo recipe.
Okay. Oh shoot, I clicked on the damn thing. I didn't mean to do that.
No, it's all good. But anyway, that's all I got.
Hold on, let me close this so it don't play. All right, you said you want me to click on this and watch this one?
I mean, yeah, I just sent you the
Did you send it in
Alfredo.
the chat?
Yeah, I don't think I can. I don't know
Oh
why.
yeah, okay, I got you. You had grits for dinner. What kind of grits?
Sugar.
I got some of them nephew Tommy grits. Y'all know he make grits. Nephew told me he has
Oh.
heart and soul grits, and like it's like a little savory. It's a sweet and spicy or something. I got two different kinds of it, whatever. But that joint use one pack use a whole stick of butter. I'm like, nah, bro,
Oh,
you're
come
not
on.
out here about to kill me like that.
I'm trying to live. I'm trying to
Yeah.
live.
But they
Anyway,
were good though when I tasted them or whatever. She had grits for dinner.
I hope she has
That's
some
it,
shrimp in
goody.
them grits.
What about the like fried fish or something? Like what shrimp and grits? Like what was it? Just grits?
It was
She
just
said cat
grits.
daddy. Talking about daddy. Um if I can find that party picture, I'm gonna show that picture. But yeah, so anyway, yeah, I'm prolonging it. I need to get in here and fix your nephew this food. I guess that's the benefit of coming home from college in the summertime. You can get
All
home
the
cooked
good
meals
home
at your
cooked meals.
request.
Yep.
So I'm about to do that. And then so yeah, watch Karen so we can discuss that
Okay,
because
I will.
I'm gonna get your nephew to watch it too because it was just so much stuff that I was just talking back and forth to the screen about. It was ridiculous. But anyway, so okay, I said this in the beginning. The emoji over here is the sneaker, the tennis shoe, because y'all are the movers and shakers. Because we keep it moving through the drama, we keep it moving from topic to topic, and we keep it moving in our regular lives. And I know you guys do the same thing. So whenever you
Yes.
come over here, we're gonna drop the sneaker emoji in the chat for my movers and shakers. Yeah. Anyway, so okay, I'm gonna look at this recipe and see if I want to steal anything from her and add it to my own.
Yes.
And what are y'all having for dinner?
I think James is cooking. We did some meal preps earlier this week. We probably still have some chicken, some green beans, and some diced sweet potatoes. So we'll probably be eating that again.
I really want some wings. I want some
Don't
wings,
you say
but I
that. I want
cannot
some
do
wings
it. I
now.
got 3 more days left in my challenge, so I'm gonna try to be good and I'm gonna eat the food that I motherfucking put in the refrigerator. That's
All right, that's the plan right there. Stick to it.
anyway. All right, guys. We'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Bye.